Hello friend, my name is Oluwole Godwin and welcome to MOG Economics. Today we shall continue our discussion on publicly competitive markets. So this is we have part 1, part 2 and part 4 of this particular class, and it is advisable for you to see those videos first before you see this one. The links to those videos will be provided in the description of this new one right under this video, so check it out. So what are we going to be doing here? What we are going to be doing here is to do the calculations. We've treated the theoretical aspects of publicly competitive markets in the previous videos, but in this particular one we shall be doing calculations of the profits of firms when they are supposed to stay in the market and so on and so forth. We have this exercise here. Suppose there is a publicly competitive industry where all the firms have identical cost curves. Furthermore, suppose that a representative firm's cost is given by the equation this total cost TC equals 100 plus Q squared plus Q, where Q is the quantity of output produced by the firm. You also know that the market demand for this product is given by the equation P equals 1000 minus 2Q, where Q is the market quantity. In addition, you are told that the market supply curve is given by the equation P equals 100 plus Q. Now, the very first question that we have to attempt here is, what is the equilibrium quantity and price in this market? What is the equilibrium quantity and price in this market? We should take note of one thing, that the total cost is expressed in terms of a small q, and the demand and supply curves, or the demand and supply equations are represented in terms of a big Q. That is to say that the quantity produced by firms is different from the quantity produced in the industry. Okay, we've sorted the difference out in the previous videos. Okay, so what we are going to do now is, we know that in a publicly competitive market, okay, firms are price takers. Firms are price takers, so they take the price that is determined in the industry or from the market, and then decide to produce whatever quantity they are going to produce at that given price. Now, these two equations, this equation, which is the supply equation, and then the demand equation, represents that of the market, okay, not that of the firm. All right, so what we need to do in that case is to find the equilibrium, because this represents the industry. So we have to find the intersection of the supply curve, the market supply curve, and the market demand curve in order to get the price that the firms are going to take from the industry. So we have this. Okay, one more thing to note is the fact that this happens to be an inverse demand function. So we say we have an inverse demand function when P is the subject of the function, or when P is the subject of the equation. Under normal circumstances, Q is supposed to be the subject of a demand equation or a supply equation. But whenever we have P being the subject, then that is an inverse demand or supply function, as the case may be. So we have this inverse demand function, P equals 1000 minus 2Q, then PS equals 100 plus Q for the market. Okay, so as equilibrium, P equals PS equals P star, that is the price charge. Okay, as equilibrium is going to be the same thing. The price paid by the buyers as well as the price paid by the sellers are going to be the same thing. So since we have this, what we have to do then is to equate the PD's equation and the PS equation together. So we have 1000 minus 2Q equals 100 plus Q. So collect like terms, 1000 minus 100 comes here, equals Q plus 2Q. 3Q equals 900, and then Q equals 300. So the equilibrium quantity is 300. So how then do we get to the price in the industry? So we get to the price by equating, by substituting Q, okay, into either the demand function, either the inverse demand function or the inverse supply function. Alright, so when we do that, so I've chosen the inverse demand function. Our answers are meant to be the same, but I've chosen the inverse demand function. So we have P equals 1000 minus 2 Q, so 2 into bracket 300. Then that becomes 600 here. So 1000 minus 600 is 400. So P equals PS equals 400. So the equilibrium quantity in the industry is 300, while the equilibrium price is 400. So that is exactly what we have here, 300 and 400. So this is the market demand and supply curve. Okay, and each firm in this industry is going to take this price, the price of 400, and then produce whatever quantity it wishes to. The next question asks, what is the production for the firm? What is the production for the firm? So I've decided to bring the two graphs together for easier understanding, or for better understanding. So this happens to be the market demand and supply curves. We obtained 300 as the equilibrium quantity the other time, and then 400 as the equilibrium price. So what we just have to do is to trace this up to the firm. So this is for the firm, this is for the industry, and this is for the firm. So the industry is the firm is taking 400 naira as the price. Okay, so now you have to determine what quantity this firm is going to produce. Okay, remember that a publicly competitive firm does not produce the same quantity as the industry. Okay, because the industry is talking about the output of all of the firms in it. Okay, so we don't expect the output for a firm to be equal to that of the entire industry. All right, as far as the publicly competitive market is concerned. So how are we going to get that? We could have just said MC equals the demand curve, but then remember that in this particular question, the inverse demand function is meant for the industry. It is not meant for the firm. Okay, the question states it clearly. All right, so what then are we going to use? In order to determine the output that a firm is going to produce, we need to consider where the marginal cost equals to the marginal revenue, that is, where the firm is maximizing his or her profit, and that point is simply where the marginal cost equals the marginal revenue. But because we can only obtain marginal revenue from the demand curve, and the demand curve, the demand equation is not given for the firm, so we cannot use marginal revenue. But remember that when we are talking about a firm, we are talking about the price. Okay, this is demand curve. The price being equal to the average revenue, all right, being equal to the marginal revenue, as well as being equal to the marginal cost. So because there is no demand curve where we can, because there is no demand equation for this firm where we could obtain our total revenue as well as marginal revenue or average revenue, we need to consider something else that is here, okay, that we can make use of by what the equation has stated. So we do not have the average revenue, we can't obtain the marginal revenue either, and then what about the marginal cost? So the question states that, look at, where is it? Okay, so we have, furthermore, suppose that a representative firm's cost is given by the equation TC equals 100. So there is a total cost function, and from the total cost function, we can obtain the marginal cost. All right, so there is no demand function for the firm to obtain AR and MR. All right, so what then are we left with? We are left with P and MC. All right, so on this particular graph, on this particular curve, we have P equals AR equals MR equals MC, okay? But then we don't have AR, we don't have MR. So what are we left with? We are left with P and MC, okay? So we now have the price that this firm is going to charge, that is the price it took from the industry, being equal to the marginal cost of this particular firm. Alright, so what do we do? Marginal cost is the differentiation of total cost with respect to quantity. Okay, so which is the TC/Q. Now this is total cost function, that is 100 plus Q squared plus Q. By the time we differentiate this, we have, there is no Q here, so this is a constant, so it becomes 0. Then this Q squared, we differentiate that, 2 comes here, so we have 2 becomes the coefficient here, then Q raised by 2, then we subtract 1 from the power, which is the way we do, which is the way calculus is being done, which is the way differentiation is being done. Then plus, so we have just Q here, Q is raised by 1 ordinarily, so we take that one, bring it here, then Q raised by 1 minus 1. Alright, so 2Q, and then when you have 2 minus 1 here, so that's 1, so we just have 2Q plus Q raised by 1 minus 1, that's Q raised by 0, and anything raised by 0 is 1, except 0 itself. So we have 2Q plus 1. Okay, so we have our MC's function, and then because our firm is a price taker, it took 400 from the industry, so we just have 400 equal the marginal cost, that is P equals MC. Okay, so 400 equal the marginal cost, then we collect items, we have 400 minus 1 equals 2Q. Okay, then 2Q equals 400 minus 1 is 399, then Q is 199.5. That is to say that this particular firm, this particular firm's output is 199.5. Next question states that what is the total revenue, total cost and profit of the firm? So what is the total revenue, total cost and profit of the firm? So how do you calculate total revenue? Total revenue is simply price multiplied by quantity. Okay, and we need to take note of the end, which is talking about of the firm, not of the industry. Okay, then how do you calculate total revenue? That is simply price times quantity. So we have the price. Okay, we obtain the price here. Okay, the price taken from the market is 400. Then the quantity we obtained when we equated P equals to MC, which is 199.5. So 400 times 199.5 is equal to 79,800 naira. So that is the total revenue. Now what is the total cost? We have the total cost function for the firm, which is 100 plus Q squared plus Q. Alright, so what we have to do is substitute the Q that the quantity that we obtained here, that this firm is going to be producing, into the total cost function. So what do we have? 100 plus 199.5 raised by 2, then plus 199.5. Okay, then our total cost thus becomes 40,000 and 99.75 naira. Okay, then how do you calculate the profit? The profit is simply total revenue minus total cost. Total revenue minus total cost. Then profit is 79,800 minus 40,099.75, and then this profit now is 39,700.25. So that simply means that in this particular market there is positive economic profit. There's positive economic profit, and which is equal to 39,700.25. After obtaining this profit, the next question now states that what is going to happen in the long run. Okay, for this particular firm, what's going to happen in the long run? This is what's going to happen in the long run. Based on this, what we need to consider is the profit. Okay, there is a positive economic profit for the firm that is in this industry. Okay, and we should remember that a primarily competitive market is characterized by free entry and exit, and whenever there is a positive economic profit, we have an increase in entry. That is, we have more firms coming into the market in order to enjoy. Okay, they want to partake of the positive economic profit. So when that happens, what do we expect? First, we expect the industry supply, the industrial supply to increase. We expect the industrial supply to increase simply because there are more firms now. Okay, it is not increasing because of the contribution of each firm. Because of an increase in the contribution of each firm to the industrial supply. No, that's not the reason. That's not the reason why it is increasing. Okay, the reason it is increasing is that there are more firms now. So by the time we take the totality of their output, we are going to be having an output that is greater than the initial industrial output. So what then happens is a shift of the supply curve. So there's going to be an outward shift of the supply curve, and when that happens, look at there is an intersection here at a lower equilibrium price, at a lower equilibrium, which is going to be P2, okay, or whatever it is you name it. Okay, so we have this curve here, okay, this arrow here stating that there's going to be a reduction in price from 400 to P2, whatever P2 is going to be. Okay, and then what do we observe when it comes to the quantity? This was the equilibrium quantity. This was the initial quantity. Okay, the initial quantity was this was the initial equilibrium. Okay, and then this is the new equilibrium. So this was the initial quantity 300, then we have a new quantity now, which is quantity Q2, and we expect Q2 to be greater than 300 based on what we have here. Now by the time we trace this curve out, okay, to determine the price that we are going to be having here, so we have the firm taking a lower price now. Okay, the firm is going to be taking a lower price now. Then this happens until entry continues to happen until there is zero economic profit in the market, until there's zero economic profit for each firm in the market. All right, and by the time we say when we say we have zero economic profit, we are simply saying that each firm would start producing at its efficient scale, and the efficient scale is simply the minimum average total cost. So entry will continue to occur, okay, until the positive economic profit is totally eradicated and each firm begins to produce at its minimum scale. Let us not forget that there is no fixed cost in the long run, so average total cost curve is the same thing as the average variable cost curve. So after doing that, so we trace that here. Then what do we observe? We observe that the quantity produced by each firm, okay, is going to fall. Okay, now look at this particular firm that was producing 199.5 before. Now look at the new intersection. Okay, before it was producing when its MC was equal to the marginal revenue curve, which is the same as the average revenue curve. All right, when the price was 400. Okay, so this was the intersection. Now that the price has reduced to this point, so look at it, and the average cost is no longer okay. The average cost is here. All right. Then look at what is going to happen. Look at what is happening here. The average cost is intersecting the marginal cost curve at a point that is below the initial demand curve. All right. So and this is what we have here. We have this new demand curve, and then this is what we have. Okay. When we trace it down, we discover that there is a lower quantity. So this quantity that's to tell us that each firm in this particular industry will be producing a lower quantity compared to what it was producing before. And like I said earlier, each firm is going to be producing something that is lower, but then that does not mean that the industrial supply is going to fall. Industrial supply is not going to fall. In fact, it is going to rise simply because there are more firms now in the market. So that is what is happening here. Then what else do you observe? Okay, so the general effect now is there is going to be, because of positive economic profits, we are going to be having first increase in the entry of firms into this particular industry, then we are going to be having an increase in industrial production, that is an outward shift of the supply curve. And third, we are going to be having a lower price, so in such a way that firms now produce as a lower price, and then we have this lower price leading to a lower quantity as well as zero economic profit. So that is what happens just because of the results that we have here. The next question states that find the equilibrium price and quantity for the firm in the long run. Find the equilibrium price and quantity for the firm in the long run. In the long run, it is understood that the firm produces where its marginal cost is equal to its average total cost. Okay, where its marginal cost is equal to the average total cost, and or we can as well say where its price is equal to the average total cost. Yeah. So we have price being equal to the marginal cost, being equal to the average total cost, being equal to the marginal revenue, the average revenue, and okay, and that. All right. So with the particular information that we have in this question, we do not know the price. Okay, but what we can do, we could decide to find the quantity first. Now look at it. So this is, we are asked to find this price and this quantity, but then we have the marginal cost here intersecting the average total cost at its minimum point. That is, we can just equate marginal cost with average total cost, and then we obtain what our quantity is going to be for the firm, and that is exactly what is happening here. So we have MC. Okay, we have that can be found where MC is equal to average total cost. That is, this is the MC curve. Okay, so MC is equal to the average total cost at this point. Then we have the price here, and then we have the quantity here. So MC is equal to 2Q plus 1. Okay, we obtained that the other time when we differentiated the total cost curve, and then the average total cost curve is simply total cost divided by quantity. Okay, so total cost of the firm divided by the quantity produced by the firm. So what then do we have? We have all of the total cost being divided by Q. Okay, so by the time we equate the two of them together, we have 2Q plus 1, which is representing MC, equals all of these for the average total cost. We cross multiply. Okay, so Q multiplies all of this. So Q into bracket 2Q plus 1 equals, then there's no denominator here again. We have 100 plus Q squared, then plus Q. 2Q, Q multiplied by 2Q is 2Q squared plus Q multiplied by 1 is Q equals 100 plus all of this. Then we collect like terms. Okay, so Q squared is here, we bring it here, it becomes a minus, then plus Q, then minus, when Q comes a minus, then everything equals 100. So we have plus Q minus Q, that cancels out. So 2Q raised power 2 minus Q raised power 2 is simply Q raised power 2. And Q raised power 2 equals, we have only 100 here, 100. So by the time we find the square root of this, we have plus or minus 100. But then our quantity cannot be minus. A producer cannot produce a minus 10 of a thing. So he has said that the quantity is 10. Alright, so that means quantity produced in the long run after all of the firms have entered now is going to be 10, which is a very, very great fall from 109.5 to 10. So what we'll be having here now is going to be 10. Okay, this graph is not drawn to scale. All right, so let's just manage that. It's going to be 10. Then how do we get the price? Okay, the price is simply like I said, we have a lot of things being equal to each other here. That is the P, the MC, the ATC, the MR, and so on and so forth. Okay, but then we have the price at this point equal to the marginal cost. The price at this point equal to the marginal cost, and in fact, the price is also as well equal to the average total cost. So we could decide to choose any one that we want. Okay, but here we are choosing the marginal cost. So if we solve using the average total cost, we should get the same answer because the price is simply equal to everything is simply equal to this point, and at that point we have the same marginal cost, the same average total cost, as well as the same price. So by the time we do P equals marginal cost, so P now equals the marginal cost equation is 2Q plus 1, so we have 2Q plus 1. Then this Q, we've updated our Q before, which is 10, so we just input 10 here. So we have 2 into bracket 10 plus 1, then price is 21. So price falls from 400 to 21. So the new price now is going to be 21. Okay, which is also a great fall. We've not drawn our graph to scale, so let's just manage what we have. Alright, so price is 21. So this is, we can now see the effect of entry, okay, of free entry and exits in a particular market. So this is talking about the free entry, and we can see how it's reduced the price that each firm is charging, and how it's reduced the quantity that each firm is selling. Okay, in spite of the fact that theoretically we expect the industrial output to be more than what it was before. Alright, so it is this it is all of these events that erode the profit that was existing when the firms were fewer in number, and then they were making positive economic profit. So the last question states that how many units are produced in this market. So we're not talking about the firm now, we are talking about this Q. Okay, so how many units are produced in this market? Okay, so there is something that is important. Since firms are price takers, it therefore means that the market equilibrium price is 21 in the long run. Alright, so how did we get that? We solved the other time to get the price that firms are going to be charging. I discovered that it was 21. Okay, so if the price is 21, it simply means that is the price that is existing in the industry. Okay, so we just, that means 21 here is the same thing as 21 here. So what then do we have to do? We just have to substitute this price in the market demand function. Okay, we have to substitute this price in the market demand function. So where's the market demand function? We have this P equals 1000 minus 2Q. Okay, so we have P equals 1000 minus 2Q. So we are looking for this Q now, that is the the totality of output in the market, that is the market output. So we have 21 equals 1000 minus 2Q, and 2Q equals 1000 minus 21. 2Q is 97, and then Q is 489.5. Alright, so that is to say that what we have here now is 489.5, which is theoretically correct, that the total output is going to increase. This is the end of the class. So thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. Your questions are going to be attended to as quickly as possible. Please, if you like this, if you enjoyed this video, click on the like button, and if you want more of our videos, please click on the subscribe button. Subscription is absolutely free. Thank you once again, and see you next time.